Hello there, you're watching Epicenter on CNN News 18. I'm Maha Siddiqui. There's a political battle brewing over the exercise of delimitation in Jammu and Kashmir. The Gupkar Alliance has rejected the draft proposal by the Commission, alleging that it is being done with a pro-BJP agenda. The BJP, on the other hand, says that it will give Jammu its due. The Commission has proposed adding 6 seats to Jammu and 1 to Kashmir. So the Valley leaders say that it's not justified by the census data. They are expected to submit their official response to the Commission by the 31st of December, but politics is already heating up on the matter and will ultimately be closely linked to the restoration of statehood for Jammu and Kashmir.
क्योंकि ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट के दायरे अख्तियार में है, हमने चैलेंज किया है। सरकार को चाहिए था कि वो इंतज़ार कर लेते। ऐसे मामलात में जल्दबाजी से काम लेना न कौमी मुफाद के हक में है, न ही जम्मू कश्मीर के अवाम के हित में है।
प्रिलिमिनरी रिपोर्ट जो है, प्रिलिमिनरी ड्राफ्ट, जिसमें 6 सीटें जम्मू में और एक सीट कश्मीर में बढ़ाई जा रही है, तो हमने कहा ये हमारे अनएक्सेप्टेबल होगा।
पीपल्स डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टी इसको कम्प्लीटली रिजेक्ट करते हैं और हमारे लिए, जम्मू कश्मीर के आवाम के लिए, ये किसी भी कीमत में एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है।
सजेशंस उनसे मांगी गई हैं, उनके नेता है, तो अब कश्मीरियों को अपनी बताने के लिए कि हमने ये किया है, हमने वो किया है, यही आवाज़ मात्र है, इसके अलावा कुछ नहीं है।
The centre has already said that the road to statehood is going to be via the delimitation exercise that is taking place, although there's a dispute on that as well, with the Valley party saying that a delimitation exercise can wait. The statehood issue needs to be settled first. But let's take a look at why Jammu and Kashmir needs delimitation and the fact that after the abrogation of Article 370, several changes have occurred there as well. First of all, the borders have changed with the creation of Union Territory. Remember, this was an entire state of Jammu and Kashmir. This was bifurcated into two, into a union territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and Ladakh was separated from it. Meanwhile, Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act raises the assembly seats 290 from the present 83. So this is taking a look at the census, the number of people in the state, now union territory as of now. Assembly elections are possible only after delimitation is what has been said, and that is why the exercise of delimitation becomes important. That is what the centre has been saying, although as I was pointing out, the Valley leaders disagree with that point as well. Last exercise was carried out in 1995. There has been big demographic change since then as well in Jammu and Kashmir, and that is why this exercise of delimitation was required. Introduction of reserved scheduled tribe seats in the assembly was also being done under this exercise of delimitation. As we have seen, that has also been proposed in the draft resolution, or draft proposal rather. Representation for Gujars, Bakawars and other groups, these are some of the groups that are there. They will also get representation, is what is being said under this. A boost to representation of hill districts in the assembly as well. So these are the various points that have been in fact incorporated as far as this delimitation exercise is being conducted there. Give voting rights to West Pakistan refugees. This is all being put across in the delimitation exercise. Remember, there was a meeting yesterday, and in that meeting there was representation. Farooq Abdullah was also present in that meeting, after which they expressed their dissatisfaction. That is, the Valley leaders expressed their dissatisfaction, although Jitendra Singh stepped out and said that everybody was satisfied with what was in fact discussed during that meeting. All the responses from the leaders, from various political parties, representations have to be received by this commission by the 31st of December. Let's go across now to our guests to discuss whether this is a political division of sorts in Jammu and Kashmir, what it could lead up to, and is it becoming even more difficult to move forward now with this kind of proposal. Ifra Jan, spokesperson of the National Conference, Syed Sohail Bukhari of the PDP is joining us here, as well as Professor Dipankar Sen Gupta from the Department of Economics, University of Jammu, and RP Singh, BJP spokesperson, is joining us here. I want to first go across to Ifra, if she's through there. All right, we'll get Ifra in just a bit. Professor Dipankar, I want to first understand from you, what is the basis of delimitation? Only population, as the valley leaders are saying that should be the basis, but it appears that in this case several other factors have been taken into account as well. What is largely the basis of delimitation?
Maha, both in the Jammu Kashmir Constitution as well as in the Act, the Reorganization Act, there are 4 criteria for delimitation. As in the previous Jammu Kashmir Constitution, population, of course, is there, most important. Then communication, the amount that roads that exist in that particular area. Then there is infrastructure, health infrastructure, etc. and the like. And lastly, the terrain. So there are 4 factors to it. Obviously, the most important factor is population. If you look at the Reorganization Act, one of the elements from the previous dispensation that has been included is basically the manner in which delimitation is to be done. So if the Kashmir-based parties now are saying that population is the only basis, this is basically disingenuous. It is patently false, and this should not be repeated. The problem is act on law. There is a law that is given. Everybody participated in these exercises knowing what the law would be. The data is given to you. Now, Jammu has a reason to be aggrieved that the census data may not be as it seems to be. But the greater reason for Jammu to be aggrieved is the following. The delimitation has never been done according to the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir when that was not superseded. And now, when it is being done according to rules, you have certain people saying that this is completely unacceptable. This is an emotive response. I don't think it's an emotive response. It's a populist response. It is aimed at the lowest common denominator, atavistic feelings in the Kashmir population, and there is no basis to it at all.
All right. So Professor Dipankar, I'll interrupt you there, because let's get a response to the points that you've already made from Ifra and Sohail, both of them here with us representing the parties of the Valley. Ifra, Farooq Abdullah was present in that meeting, and Jitendra Singh, when he stepped out of the meeting, seemed to suggest that the people present in the meeting were all satisfied with the outcome. But hours later, we saw public opposition to what was proposed in that draft. Was this not communicated immediately in that meeting?
You see, Dr. Sahab, in that very meeting was shocked to see the proposals of the Delimitation Commission. In that very meeting, Dr. Sahab said that they were unacceptable to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And whatever Dr. Jitendra Singh has said, I don't know if people still trust the BJP on what the BJP says and their data and the kind of Naya Kashmir stories they build. You are free to trust them, of course. Coming to the point that this person was making about the Delimitation Commission, what is essentially the problem that we have with the Delimitation Commission? The fundamental problem that we have is that they have more or less disenfranchised 10 lakh people in Kashmir Valley. If you look at the previous census data and if you look at the previous data, 55% of the people of Jammu and Kashmir used to send 54% people in the Constituent Assembly, which means we used to send 1% lesser than our population, and Jammu used to send 1% more than their population. So I don't know where this discrimination was. But now what has happened is that there is an 8% discrimination where we will be sending less than the 8% of our population. He says that the area has to be considered. Please tell me which other delimitation commission anywhere in India proposes area as one of the factors for delimitation.
All right. So, Ifra, I'll interrupt you there. Let's get a response from RP Singh of the BJP. RP Singh, what Ifra is referring to is the calculations based on population. Now, 1.46 lakh Kashmiris will be represented by one MLA, and 1.25 lakh will be people in Jammu will be represented on the other hand. This doesn't show parity is what she's trying to say. So, how is this move justified? How is the BJP justifying this move?
Maha, these are the wriggles of the Delimitation Commission. I mean, I can answer you that also, but let me come to the core issue. What's the core issue? The core issue is they don't want to contest next election. They want to postpone this election as long as they can. And now they are saying that you do it after the next census. The reason is that they know that they're going to lose. They're going to be routed out of Kashmir this time. Especially in Kashmir, there are new parties and new people, new set of people who are there staring at them, and they will be now routed out of Kashmir. So they want to hold on, cling on to whatever they can till the time they can. And that's why they are trying to delay this process as much as they can. And as for what is the parameters, we know that it's not only the population, it's the contiguity, it is the length and breadth, it's the topography. There are a lot of other parameters. There are 5 parameters put together.
But that is what Ifra is questioning. RP Singh, she's saying, aren't we opening up a Pandora's box if population is not the only basis for delimitation?
Well, it was done in that fashion earlier also. I mean, that's how Jammu was deprived. I mean, that was the reason. And that's why Ladakh,
but sir, Jammu's population is less than Kashmir's.
Ladakh with less population had more seats at that time.
RP Singh?
Sorry.
I was saying Jammu's population, just the population is less than Kashmir's. All right, we seem to... Okay, go ahead.
But there are seats in Jammu which has population of 2 lakh, and there are seats in Kashmir which has population of 20,000 also.
Okay.
So there's a variance there also.
All right. Okay, I'll come back to you. Let me go across to Suhail Bukhari. Suhail, the allegation made by RP Singh that this is just a delaying tactic, that the parties in the valley are scared that they will lose their ground, they are losing rather their base in the valley, and that is why they want to postpone the elections and therefore the delimitation exercise.
Kumar, actually go on to give my point of view on that. I have a question for Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh just mentioned, and he's a very responsible spokesperson of the largest political party, electorally speaking, of the country. He just mentioned that there are constituencies in Kashmir which have 20,000 voters. Didn't he say so?
I think he's...
Mr. Singh, can you please name one such constituency?
Sir, Gandhinagar, how much votes Gandhinagar has?
Sir, which constituency in Kashmir has 20,000 votes, as you mentioned?
Sir, I'm coming to that, sir. Okay. Sir, how many votes do Gandhinagar have? Can you tell me that? Then I'll answer your question.
You have made a statement. Please. See, this is patent lie that, is attributed and is associated with BJP. You just made a statement. Please tell us which constituency has 20,000 votes.
I'm asking you how much vote do Gandhinagar have?
Which constituency in Kashmir has 20,000 votes, as you just mentioned?
Sir, I'm asking you how many votes do Gandhinagar have? I'll answer that. First answer that.
See, you have actually exposed
yourself. Bukhari, dar lagta hai chunao mein jaane se. You are scared. People of Kashmir will rout you out. They are not going to vote for you this time. Be prepared. And that's what the reason you want to.
All right. So that is the question we have asked Suhail Bukhari. RP Singh, just hold on. Suhail, answer that question. Are the valley parties afraid of losing ground? Is that the reason that delaying tactics are being used as you are being accused of?
I will tell you. Now that Mr. Singh has now that he has exposed himself completely, let me answer your question. See, what the Delimitation Commission and its process is as of now on ground, we do not see it in isolation. It's not only about the parameters that it has taken, what it has done essentially to meet the goals set by the BJP to attain their political agenda. What we have essentially said from day one is that the Delimitation Commission essentially is a product or a byproduct or a function of the Reorganization Act. And we have all along been saying that is patently unconstitutional, illegal, and any and everything that happens, takes place from there on is, of course, illegal and unconstitutional. Because what happened on August 5 was a process, initiation of a process to, disempower the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and now particularly Kashmir, electorally, politically,
Suhail,
economically.
Suhail, if you don't believe in that commission, why was there representation from PAGD yesterday? Why was Farooq Abdullah present?
Let me set the record straight. There was no participation in that commission from the PAGD. There were people from National Conference who went there on their own. As far as PDP is concerned, we have said it on record that we believe this is a political commission that has come into existence only to fulfill the agenda of BJP. When they came to Kashmir and asked us to meet them, we wrote a letter to them, told them in absolutely clear terms that we do not want to legitimize a farce that the Delimitation Commission is, which is essentially there only to further the agenda of RSS and BJP to disempower the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
There seems to be some sort of difference of opinion even in the PAGD. Then Suhail is saying that National Conference represented itself in its own capacity and not representing the larger Gupkar alliance.
You see, if you actually look at when the Delimitation Commission actually came to Jammu and Kashmir, I know, and I think, many DDCs from PDP actually met the Delimitation Commission, including in DC offices like Anantnag, like DC offices Pulwama, in Srinagar. So PDP may not have sent elected representatives, but people elected on PDP ticket did go and meet the Delimitation Commission. That is for one. And PDP did put its whatever proposals it had in front of the DDC Commission. And I don't really blame the PDP for it. So did many other political parties. So did NGOs. So did women's groups. So did the Kashmiri Pandits. So did the Gujar Bakarwal groups. So did even political parties that are unregistered in Jammu and Kashmir. So a lot of people, including PDP, met the Delimitation Commission. But the problem is whether Farooq Sahab or whether our National Conference MPs or whether the PDP DDCs or whether the PC members or whatever we said is not binding on the Delimitation Commission. Whatever we said to the Delimitation Commission was only a recommendation, and we have seen the Delimitation Commission right from the start has actually only been an arm of the BJP.
At the end of the day, you have legitimized the commission, right?
We have not legitimized
the PDP is saying that they have not legitimized it.
No, they have. I'm afraid, as I've clearly said, the PDP DDC's members have met the commission. And to be honest, presenting your views to the commission is in no ways legitimizing the commission. Right now, as a spokesperson of the party, I am telling you on national television that DDC, this Delimitation Commission, has actually acted as an arm of the BJP.
That allegation, and let RP Singh respond to that. RP Singh, the allegation is that the commission is acting at the behest of the BJP.
Well, it's a constitutional body. How can it act on behalf of BJP? I mean, they don't believe in Supreme Court. They don't believe in Election Commission. They don't believe in Delimitation Commission. They won't believe in census also tomorrow, the forthcoming census also. So I told you, I still strongly hold that they are doing it only for one reason, because they know that they'll be routed out. And then mark my word, Maha, I sit with you after the elections happened in Jammu Kashmir. You will see all these parties, PDP, National Conference, people are fed up of them.
All right, so we'll wait till the elections. First, the delimitation exercise has to take place. Parties have to agree to that. Then elections will take place. And then the centre says statehood would be restored to Jammu and Kashmir. On that, there is a difference of opinion as well, with the Valley Party saying no, restore statehood before delimitation. Professor Dipankar, I want to come to you. The basis for this delimitation exercise is the 2011 census, whereas we have seen some of the other delimitation exercises being conducted with 2001 being the basis, as the census being the basis for that delimitation exercise, and the next one will be carried out on the basis of 2031. Then is it fair to have a delimitation exercise for Jammu and Kashmir alone basis the 2011 census?
Look, this is the only place where delimitation is going to be held. All these states, other states have already delimited their constituencies. And when you delimit, you basically use the nearest census possible. But let me come back to a point that the National Conference representative made. She asked the question, where have you ever seen parameters other than population being taken for delimitation? And I can name you one, Jammu and Kashmir. The 1957 People's Representation Act of Jammu and Kashmir mentions 4 parameters. And this is the essence that has been maintained in the Jammu and Kashmir People's Reorganization Act when it comes to delimitation. All the time harping population while forgetting that in the Jammu Kashmir constitution there were other factors. It's another matter that that particular
Professor Dipankar, anywhere across the country, is any other basis apart from population used?
Look, when you are basically making a reorganization act for a particular area, particular state, or particular region, sometimes the characteristic of that particular region is represented. So, for example, in my state, anybody can come in and apply for a government job. in Jammu and Kashmir, as then, even now, it is restricted to domiciles. So let us face it. Regions have their own
Professor Dipankar, the whole idea of abrogation of Article 370 was to bring it at par with the rest of the states in the country. Then should different parameters be used there?
And to a large extent, it has been brought at par. But you see, when you come, you cannot have absolute uniformity. For example, why don't you tell Himachal Pradesh, do away with your residency laws? Why don't you tell Uttarakhand, do away with your residency laws? To that extent, I think local specificities have to be respected. The broad bounty of the constitution, the laws in the constitution today are applicable to Jammu and Kashmir state.
Okay.
Now, the fact is, if these particular parties now today say that you should take into account only population, then one has nothing to say. As for their demand that do it after the census, that would find a lot of takers in Jammu as well, because a lot of people in Jammu believe that the 2011 census was a fudge. Look, these things have never been done very properly in Jammu and Kashmir. But even if I take this particular census for granted and then I apply the law, I get a particular result. Now, I for one, I don't know exactly what is this award all about, because I have not seen the formulas which give scores to various regions of the state. That is, I think, shown possibly only to the political parties.
All right. I'll just interrupt you, Professor Dipankar, because I want to take that aspect of whether it should only be based on population or other factors should be brought in. Suhail, I want to come to you on that count. Jammu has provided a home to a lot of minorities, ethnic groups as well. In a sense, you know, on the face of it, it looks more diverse than Kashmir. So do you believe then that Jammu does deserve more seats, in the sense that a lot of different groups need representation and it cannot be done only on the basis of population then?
Well, with different groups requiring representation, then, you know, why don't you go ahead and let the same delimitation for these groups, you know, simultaneously? That is not an argument would be taken anywhere, and definitely that is not going to be the case here. Having said that, let me take that question further. The professor was just talking about, I mean, that's great that he did mention the fact, why don't you question the Himachal Pradesh on their residency laws? I am saying, take it further, talk about the northeastern states, talk about other places, talk about Haryana, which recently said that we are going to reserve jobs, particularly for the locals. So this whole bogey of integrating Jammu and Kashmir by illegally and unconstitutionally taking away and robbing us of our constitutional and democratic rights, essentially, as is staring them in the face. They really are confused. They don't know. Earlier, they would say we want to make it equal and at the ensure that there is similarity. Now they are doing everything to ensure that there are
and that is available. Why they have become restricted to one part of the valley.
Is there a way forward? Is there a way forward, RP Singh? Is there a way forward?
Let me complete.
Okay, so complete and then I'll go to RP Singh.
Yeah, so the long and short of it is, as I said earlier, the bottom line remains that the BJP-RSS combined in New Delhi has a long-standing agenda of disempowering the only Muslim majority state of the country. And they started that process on August 5, 2019, an order almost every second day, they eyeing on our land, our jobs, disempowering us economically and ensuring that we are politically disempowered is what their roadmap has been. And this whole farce called the Delimitation Commission
RP Singh, what is the way forward then? People in Jammu are unhappy. They feel that they haven't got their due. Suhail, I'll interrupt you there. People in Kashmir are unhappy with the present formula that has been proposed for delimitation. The state has already been bifurcated into a union territory and a separate Ladakh. Do you think, as many in Jammu believe, there should be an ultimate trifurcation, which would mean again a bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir, Jammu being separate, Kashmir being separate?
Well, Maha, that's quite far-fetched.
Well,
but right now, let's
this
talk
has
about
been RSS's agenda from day one. There have been, times when they have said it open. They want to
let RP Singh respond. Let RP Singh respond. We have the last 1 minute, 30 seconds to RP Singh and then 30 seconds to Iqra Jan. RP Singh, go ahead.
Granted to us, and we will fight for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Keep fighting and keep contesting elections also. Please do that. fight it in a democratic process, go to courts and then go to people's court.
That's
also.
what we did last time in the DDC election.
I never interrupted you, sir.
And you were
थोड़ी
into four
यार सुनने की क्षमता रखो. Bear it out, Sohail. Please hear me out, please.
सर अभी बताया आपने 20,000 वाली कौन सी?
सर अभी मैं बताता हूँ ना सर, अभी आपने कहा कि मुसलमानों के लिए है जम्मू कश्मीर मुसलमानों के लिए है क्या?
सर 20,000 वाली
जम्मू कश्मीर मुसलमानों के लिए है क्या? आपने कहा जम्मू कश्मीर मुसलमानों के लिए है. आप वहां पर लोकतंत्र के नाम पर, आप वहां पर जमहूरियत के नाम पर, आप लोकशाही के नाम पर क्या करना चाहते हो? आप वहां पर एक
Okay, I've completely run out of time. I'll have to interrupt both of you. RP Singh, you didn't answer that question that I asked you. What is the ultimate solution? Very quickly, sir. I can only give you 10 seconds.
So I'll appreciate if he doesn't interrupt me. I mean, see, Maha is very clear that there's a process now that the draft report is there. The parties can give their opinion and the process will be on.
All right. We'll have to leave it at that. Many thanks to all four of you for joining us here on this debate. Of course, all the parties can respond and bring their opinion forward to the Commission by the 31st of December. That's what the PAGD has decided today, that they will give a written submission on why they believe that this kind of proposal is unfair. On that note, we're taking a very quick break. Thanks for watching.